Hi everyone, how are you doing? Today I want to answer another question by a reader. She asks, do you think it's important to always write when you're truth journaling, or do you think doing this mentally can be just as helpful? I detest writing. Well, first of all, I want to sympathize with you because I have also detested writing in the past. I know how hard it is to make yourself write when you don't want to write. So the first answer to the question is no, you don't have to do it on paper. You can do it in your mind and just do whatever you can make yourself do. But I'd like to encourage you to try doing it on paper for a couple of different reasons. The first is that it's hard to remember all your thoughts if you don't write them on the paper, because when we truth journal, we're just spilling our thoughts out of our mind. We might end up with 9 or 10 sentences, and if they're on paper, we can just number those sentences. We can truth journal them one sentence at a time because we're bringing each thought captive to the truth. According to 2 Corinthians 10:5, we're not bringing the whole paragraph captive to the truth. So that's easier to do when you have them on paper right in front of you so you can remember what each sentence is. Another reason is the truth sometimes sinks more deeply in when you write it down. Scientific studies show that over a period of 3 days, we tend to remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, and about 70% of what we say and write. So you can make a case for writing the truth down when you're truth journaling, just because on a practical level, it helps you remember the truth more to have written it down. I personally find that God seems to pour more truth in, whether I'm answering the questions that I deserve a donut or whether I'm truth journaling. He seems to pour more truth in when I take the time to write it down. I'm not sure if that's because I answer the questions more fully or what it really is. But if I were you, I'd just give it a try, see if you can make yourself like it. Because just think of exercising or some habit like that. In the beginning, we don't like it, we don't want to go, we have to make ourselves go. But after a while, it kind of becomes routine. And then even after a little while longer, we actually learn to enjoy it. So I'd ask you to encourage you just to give it a try to see if you could learn to enjoy it, and also to see if the truth does come in more clearly when you write. If it doesn't, then there's no need really to write it down. Okay, another thing I'd like to say is what to do if you want to truth journal mentally. How to truth journal mentally. Okay, well, first of all, you're going to have to just truth journal one thought at a time because you're not going to be able to remember a full paragraph. So, say you're laying there in bed at night. I actually often truth journal when I'm in bed at night because I don't want to get up, I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I don't want to go to all the work of getting up and renewing my mind. So I'll just sit there and see if I can't come to peace without getting out of bed. So I'll just say, okay, what am I believing? So instead of just spilling out my thoughts, I'll think, what am I believing? Or I might even say, am I believing any lies about this situation? And then I'll list either one thought or one lie, and then I'll say, what's the truth for that? And then I'll in my mind say the truth. And then after that one's taken care of, then I say, okay, what's another thing I'm believing about this situation? And then I'll give the truth. So see how it's different? With truth on paper, you spill out the whole paragraph of thoughts. Then you go back, number each sentence, and then write the truth for each sentence. If you're truth in your mind, you just do it one thought at a time. And that is helpful. That's definitely a way you can do it. Another thing you might try, a friend of mine, she used to be just a crazy worry. She'd worry about her kids all the time. And she also didn't like to take the time to write it down. But what she did is she kind of gave herself little truth lectures. Like say she'd be out working in the yard, she'd start worrying about one of her kids. And she'd think about everything she read in the Bible. She'd think about the truth of God's words. And she'd just kind of give herself a little, almost like a lecture about the truth. And she broke free from worry. That was 3 or 4 years ago. And she still hasn't taken that up as a habit. So when you see me writing things on my blog about different renewing of the mind tools, different ways to renew your mind, I'm just writing what I do, what's helpful to me, but you don't have to do those same things. The purpose of truth journaling is to take off the cultural perspective, put on the biblical perspective, take off lies and put on truth, and take off what we learned growing up and put on what we learned in the Bible. So whatever you can do to make that happen, go ahead and do that. And also, whatever you can make yourself to. If you can't make yourself truth journal on paper, truth journal in your mind. Every little way you can get truth into your system helps. Just do what you can. I guess one more thing I'd say is if you don't like to write, and even if you do like to write, for all of us, it's really helpful to memorize scripture verses, because when we have those scripture verses, the Bible verses in our memory, we can pull them out when we hear those lies. We can pull out the truth, have it ready at hand, and that will help. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any other questions, you can just email me at my blog, barbrabling.com, in the About section. And then also, if you want to know more about truth journaling, look at the Renewing of the Mind Tools section of my blog. I have all kinds of Renewing of the Mind tools there, including an article on how to truth journal. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later.